Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you today, my dear brothers and sisters, about something that too many people spend their lives chasing, but so few ever truly experience: peace. Not the kind of peace the world sells you, the fake, fragile, fleeting kind. No, I'm talking about the real peace, the kind that settles deep in your bones and whispers, "I am with you," even when everything around you is falling apart. That kind of peace doesn't come from things or titles or people. It comes straight from the throne of heaven. You don't buy it. You don't build it. You don't negotiate for it. It's a gift. It is a holy inheritance given to those who dare to believe, even when they don't understand. Too many of us have been tricked into thinking peace is something we can achieve if we just get everything in order. If we can fix the marriage, pay the bills, get the promotion, then we'll finally breathe easy. But let me ask you, what happens when the money runs out, when people disappoint you, when the door closes? If your peace is tied to the things of this world, it will crumble just as quickly as those things fall. That's not peace. That's just a pause between problems. But God's peace, it flows like a river even when the storm is raging. It's calm in the chaos, it's rest in the wrestling, it's joy in the middle of the night when tears are falling down your face and you don't even have the words to pray. You see, peace doesn't come when your situation changes. It comes when you change. When you realize that your soul is not anchored in a paycheck or a person, but in the promises of a faithful God, you stop striving and start receiving. This world wants you to believe you have to do more to feel better, but God says be still, not be busy. Not be successful, not be perfect, just be still. And in that stillness, in that surrender, peace will find you. Peace will wrap itself around you like a warm blanket on a cold night and remind you, you are not alone, you are not forgotten, and you are not going under. Let me tell you something, when you really receive the peace of God, you walk differently. You talk differently. You don't panic when the phone rings. You don't lose your mind over temporary trouble. You've got an inner calm that says, God's got this. Because you know that peace is not a reward for performance. It's a result of relationship. You're not trying to earn God's peace. You're walking in it because He already gave it to you. It's yours. It's been paid for. All you have to do is open your heart and say, Lord, I receive it. You don't chase peace. You don't beg for peace. You receive it. And when you do, that peace becomes the proof that even in the storm, God is still on the throne. Let me tell you something that will shift your whole perspective. Peace is not just a feeling. It's not just a break from the battle. Peace is evidence. It's proof. It's the fingerprint of God on your life. You may not see Him working. You may not hear His voice in the noise. But when that unexplainable calm settles in your heart while the storm still rages around you, that's not just a good day. That's a God sign. That's heaven leaning over and saying, I'm here. I'm with you. I haven't gone anywhere. Some of you have been walking through fire and still sleeping through the night. Don't you see what that means? That's not natural. That's not something you conjured up on your own. That's supernatural peace. That's God stepping into the middle of your pain and wrapping His arms around your soul. The world is waiting for all the pieces to come together before they exhale. But you have something better. You've got that divine assurance that says, I don't need to see the whole plan to know it's going to be all right. Why? Because peace is your sign that God is present. You thought you needed more money, but what you really needed was peace. You thought you needed the problem to be solved, but what you really needed was to know you're not facing it alone. Peace does that. It speaks when nothing else makes sense. It testifies that even when your prayers seem unanswered, God has not turned his back. Peace will stand up in the courtroom of your doubts and declare, He is still with you. He is still for you. He is still fighting on your behalf. Have you ever been in a place where everything around you said you should be falling apart, but something in you was still holding together? That's God. That's His peace. That's His voice saying, though the earth be shaken, I will not leave you. Though the waters roar, I will be your anchor. The enemy wants to use chaos to convince you that God is absent, but peace will rise up and remind you that He's closer than ever. Closer than your breath, closer than your next thought. You might be sitting in the middle of a mess right now. Bills stacking up, doctors' reports piling in, relationships cracking under pressure. But if you've got peace in your heart, don't ignore it. That's not denial, that's not weakness. That's divine confirmation that you are not forsaken. That peace is your compass. It's your signal. It's your holy indicator that even if your feet don't know where they're going, your spirit knows who's leading the way. So the next time the enemy tries to make you believe you're alone, check your heart. If you've still got peace in the middle of it, then you've still got God. And that's all you'll ever need. We spend so much time trying to fix the world around us, thinking that if we can just bring order to the outside, somehow the inside will follow. We try to manage people, control outcomes, arrange circumstances like pieces on a chessboard, all in the name of finding peace. But let me tell you something today that will set you free. You cannot bring peace to your surroundings if you don't first have peace in your soul. You can't pour what you don't carry. You can't speak calm if your spirit is still in chaos. Until peace takes residence in your heart, it cannot take root in your life. It's not the job, it's not the house, it's not the noise from the outside that's keeping you up at night. It's the noise on the inside, that restless heart, that overthinking mind, that anxious spirit. You've got to let God work on that. You've got to stop praying for your surroundings to change and start inviting Him to change you. Because when your heart is right, your eyes see differently. When peace lives inside of you, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. The storm can't touch what God has sealed. You want to fix your home, start with your heart. You want peace in your relationships, start with your own spirit. Because if you bring an anxious, fearful, or bitter heart into a situation, it will spill out and poison every conversation, every decision, every connection. But when you bring a heart that's been touched by God's peace, you shift the whole atmosphere. You become the thermostat, not the thermometer. You set the tone instead of reacting to it. Some of us are waiting for everybody else to change. If they'd just treat me right, I'd have peace. If they'd just understand me, I'd calm down. But what if they don't? What if they never do? Are you going to live hostage to other people's decisions? No, child. You've got to guard your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Your peace is your power. It's the place where God whispers, where wisdom flows, where healing begins. And hear me, peace isn't passive. It's not soft, it's not weak, it's bold, it's deliberate. It's strong enough to say, I don't have to respond to every fire. I don't have to chase every conflict. I choose peace because I carry peace. And when that kind of peace is alive on the inside of you, it shows up in your words, your choices, your silence, your strength. You can walk into a room full of tension and still be the calm in the storm, not because you've mastered the situation, but because God has mastered you. So let the winds blow, Let people act how they're going to act. Let life throw its punches. When peace rules your heart, nothing can shake you. Because peace isn't something you wait for. Peace is something you bring. And when you carry peace inside of you, you become an agent of peace everywhere you go. There's a lie that many of us have swallowed without question. The idea that peace means the storm is over. That if you still see lightning, if you still hear thunder, if the waves are still crashing, then peace must be far away. But I came to tell you today, peace doesn't mean the storm stops. Peace means you don't stop in the storm. Peace is not the absence of trouble. It's the presence of God in the middle of it. Peace is what keeps you from falling apart when everything else is breaking down. You see, too many people are waiting for the conditions to change before they believe God is with them. They say, "I'll feel better when it's over. I'll rest when it's resolved. I'll breathe when it's behind me." But that's not peace. That's relief. Peace isn't about what's happening around you. Peace is about what's happening within you. Anybody can have joy when everything is going right. Anybody can smile when the path is smooth. But when you can lift your hands in worship with tears in your eyes, when you can speak faith while you're still bleeding, when you can say, "It is well with my soul," while your world is shaking, that's peace. That's strength, that's power, and that's God. The storm doesn't stop God from being God, and it sure doesn't stop peace from showing up. In fact, it's often in the middle of the storm that peace shows itself strongest. Because when everything in your natural mind says you should be anxious, afraid, defeated, but your spirit is standing tall, your soul is anchored, and your mouth is still declaring the goodness of God, that's when you know peace is not a mood. It's a weapon, it's a force, it's a testimony. Do you remember when Jesus was in the boat with the disciples? The wind was roaring, the waves were crashing, and the storm was fierce. And where was Jesus? Asleep. Not because he didn't care, not because he didn't know, but because he had peace, and that same peace is available to you. The boat may rock, the water may rise, but when you know who's in the boat with you, you can rest even when the winds don't. You can trust even when the outcome is uncertain, because peace is not the product of control. It's the result of confidence in God. Don't waste your life waiting for the storm to pass. Learn to praise God in the rain. Learn to walk on the water. Learn to sleep in the boat, because when peace has been planted in your heart, the storm loses its power over your mind. The fire might keep burning, but it won't consume you. The storm may rage, but it won't sink you. You don't need calm circumstances. You need a calm spirit. And that only comes from a deep, unwavering trust in the one who said, "Peace, be still." He didn't just speak it to the storm. He spoke it to you. There's something powerful that happens when you finally come to the end of yourself, when you realize that no amount of planning, controlling, or worrying can change what only God can handle. You see, we live in a world that glorifies control. We want to map it all out, make it all make sense, and manage every little detail. We think if we can just control it, we can avoid the pain. If we can control it, we can guarantee the outcome. But the truth is, the more you try to control everything, the more peace slips through your fingers like water. Because peace doesn't come through control. Peace comes through trust. You've been carrying that burden too long. You've been trying to fix things only God can fix. You've been trying to protect yourself from what only grace can cover. And all it's done is left you tired, frustrated, and anxious. But what if I told you that the freedom you're looking for, the rest your soul is craving, doesn't come from having all the answers? It comes from knowing the one who does. When you trust God, really trust Him, you lay down the burden of being your own Savior. You stop playing God in your own life. You stop stressing over closed doors and start thanking Him for divine protection. You stop fearing what's ahead and start walking by faith. You don't need a blueprint, you need to believe. You don't need a guarantee, you need to lean on the one who never fails. Let me tell you, trust is not always easy. It means walking in the dark and believing the light is still shining. It means saying yes when you don't have all the details. It means standing still when everything in you wants to run. Trust is not weak. It's warfare. Trust is what makes you lift your hands and worship when everything looks wrong. It's what makes you sleep at night while the world is losing its mind. Because when you trust God, peace follows. Like a shadow that never leaves your side, peace follows trust. Some of you have been trying to control what God told you to surrender. That's why you're tired. That's why you're overwhelmed. You were never meant to carry that weight. Peace enters the moment you release it. Peace shows up the moment you stop fighting battles that were never yours to begin with. When you place it in God's hands, you stop reacting and start resting. Resting in His promise. Resting in His timing, resting in the fact that He's already gone ahead of you and made a way. So let go of the fear, let go of the pride, let go of the outcome, let go of the need to understand everything. And grab hold of His peace, because when trust rises, worry dies. When faith grows, fear flees. And when you finally say, God, I trust you, peace will flood your heart like a river that cannot be stopped. There's something the enemy doesn't want you to know, something he hopes you'll never discover. Because if you ever understand this truth, you become dangerous. Here it is. Peace is not weakness. Peace is not passive. Peace is power, yes, real power, the kind of power that can walk through fire and not be burned. The kind of power that can sit in the middle of chaos and not lose control. When peace lives in your heart, it becomes a weapon that no devil in hell can touch. People think the loudest person in the room is the strongest. They think the one who fights back, who claps back, who proves their point is the one with power. But real power is when you can keep your mouth closed and your spirit calm. Real power is when you can bless those who curse you. When you can walk away from a battle that isn't yours. When you can sleep at night not because your life is perfect, but because your heart is anchored in something greater than the storm. Peace is not for the fragile. It's for the warrior. It's for the one who knows who they are and whose they are. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to respond to every attack. The enemy wants to distract you, to provoke you, to pull you out of character. But peace is the shield that guards your purpose. It's the wall that keeps your destiny protected. Peace says, I don't have to prove myself. I've already been approved by God. Peace says, I don't need their validation. I've got divine affirmation. When you carry peace, you carry authority. You shift atmospheres. You calm storms not because of who you are, but because of who is in you. Some of you have been wondering why you're still standing. You've been through heartbreak, disappointment, betrayal. You've cried yourself to sleep. You've lost some things you thought you couldn't live without. But you're still here, you're still breathing, you're still believing. That's peace, that's power, that's the sign that God's hand is on your life. Because peace is not just comfort, it's confirmation. It's proof that God is doing something on the inside that the outside can't shake. Don't let the enemy lie to you and make you think you're weak because you're quiet. Don't let the world fool you into thinking peace is the absence of passion. No, peace is what allows you to stand when others fall. It's what keeps you grounded when life tries to uproot you. It's what holds you together when everything around you is coming apart. That peace is your strength. That peace is your light. That peace is your testimony. So hold your peace, guard it, walk in it. Because every time you choose peace over panic, faith over fear, trust over turmoil, you are declaring to the enemy, you didn't win. And when peace reigns in your heart, victory is already yours.